Hello, Book Talk, and welcome back to my author interview live shows. This week we are talking to Sierra Christenson, author of Omega Rebellion, and I cannot wait to talk to her about all things bookish. So I'm just going to go and find her and invite her, and hopefully we can join in. There she is, and start this interview. Go. There you are. Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, that wasn't so hard, was it? Yay.
No, it wasn't.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, this is Sierra Christenson, author of Omega Rebellion, which I cannot talk to you about. I've been starting to read it and have a look about it. But first of all, I wanted to talk to you about Book Talk. How
Okay.
did you discover Book Talk, and how long have you been here?
I think I've been book talk for about a year now.
Ah,
Um, I'm not really good with videos, so I haven't really been posting much, but lately I've been like forcing myself to.
yeah.
And actually I've gotten a lot more like feedback and like followers in the last like couple months than I did any time before that. So,
That's incredible. That's probably the opposite to most of us who are really struggling with the algorithms and don't know what to do at the
yeah.
moment. But yeah, it's been an utter nightmare. So, what made you think to find Book Talk specifically? Did you know about it, or did you kind of stumble on it, or what were you thinking?
See, I never actually had TikTok at all. When I first started up, I'm not a big social media person, so I was just like, whatever. But trying to promote my books, I just found like researching or whatever, and they're like, oh, right now TikTok's really big for promoting books and finding readers and just everything like that. So I was like, well, I'll just give it a try and um, download the app and just
See how you get
went
on.
away.
Yeah. And have you noticed a difference since you've been on the app to book sales or
Yes.
things like that? Yeah.
Um, yes, a little bit. I don't have that many in sales, but I just went to a book signing in Kansas City, and a couple of the people that actually showed up were like, "Oh, I have your book already on my TBR, or it's already like on my list." I was like, "Oh, these people know me."
Yeah, that's super exciting, isn't it? I think, and I think
hmm
when you're on social media and when you're on visually, people can see you and get to know you, and people feel like they already know you, and then that happens, and that they've got your book, and it's just the best feeling, isn't it? I think so exciting.
hmm
Oh, fantastic. So tell us about your book for those people here who may not know. Tell us about your book. Tell us what it's about. Give us your elevator pitch, or you can go longer. That's fine.
Okay, I'm terrible at these, but
I think we all are.
I'm better at writing it than I am talking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um, I would say it's pretty much just like an enemies to lovers. Where the main character, she was raised by alphas like her whole life, and she has to like infiltrate the Omega's compound to like try to take them down from the inside, and she just realizes that the whole world isn't as black and white as she thought it was, that the Omegas aren't all evil and that not all alphas are good.
Yeah.
So
So it's all about magic.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I twisted the Omega, Beta, and Alpha kind of
Yeah.
um, worldview, so it's not as much shifting. There is like a couple characters that can like shift into animal form, but like
Yeah.
it's not the premise of it. It's mainly like the magic and how they can each use their magic.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I first read the blurb and I saw Alpha, Beta, Omega, I was thinking, oh, wolves.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that. I guess that must be a common wolf thing to do.
Yeah.
But then I started reading it. I realized, oh, it's not. It's more about the magic and the magic levels and things like that. So I like that you've inverted that kind of trope, I guess. And
Yeah.
it's just super exciting. Yeah, yeah, excellent. And so, when did this book come out?
This is actually a revised copy. So this one came out in January 18th this year. I originally had it published in like 2019. But that was before I got like more education on self-publishing, so I didn't have like like a professional editor or a professional book cover artist. And then so I decided to actually get it professionally edited and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
and re-released it.
That's really interesting. So, how much do you think has changed from the original version to what's out now?
It actually changed quite a bit. So this one is a little bit darker than what I originally had. Um, so the original one, it was still enemies to lovers. It still has the bare bones is the same, but it was definitely like toned down a little bit. This one now has more of action. There's a little bit more spice in it than the original one did. And I did add more because it swaps point of view a couple times, or between the two
Yeah,
main characters.
sure.
But it also has one from like kind of the second male lead kind of point of view, and I didn't have that in the first version. But so many people loved his character that I just thought to add more of him in this book.
And will he become bigger as the series goes on? 'Cause this is a series, isn't it, that you're planning on
Yeah.
releasing now?
I don't want to do any spoilers,
Okay.
but I will say that he will get his own book down the line after the series is finished. There'll be like a prequel about how because his name's Jake. It'll be how Jake and Laubon met when they
Nice.
were like younger, because they've known each other for like 10 years.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And do you find it's interesting they said you've put more spice into this? Do you think that's a bit influence in the sense that having been around BookTok and seeing what people like, do you think that's influenced how you've edited this book and what you've decided to go bigger on versus take out?
A little bit. I will say that it's definitely the spice I don't think is definitely like on par with a lot of the book talkers
Yeah.
because it's definitely not my specialty. So I just kind of wrote how I write and I don't know. I've always kind of wanted to put stuff like that in my books, but I was always too scared because I didn't know how um like if I would write it well, I guess. But I mean so far a lot of people like it. So I don't know.
Good. Oh, excellent. Yeah. So tell me how you first got into writing. I mean, what was the
Um
first thing you wrote? How long ago was it? Give us a little bit of the history of your journey to this point.
Okay. It's been a long time. I started writing. I know that I've always loved writing. Like, I remember being like super young when we'd be waiting in like a waiting room for an appointment. I'd be sitting there rewriting like fairy tales and stuff like that.
Oh,
And then when I hit seventh grade, I met my best friend that we're still best friends, and we just got to talking, and she was into writing, and then like I don't think at that point I even knew that like it hadn't even clicked that I could write a book.
mm,
But then as she was talking about like, creating her own stories and stuff like that, I was like, oh, like I could actually put what's in my head down on paper. And so we started writing and there's one book that I started. It had to do with like angels and magic and stuff, but I haven't finished that one. I'm gonna eventually go back and work on that, but that was like a eighth grade an
yeah, sure.
idea. So I did actually finish that book. Um and I just remember everyone in school wanting to read it. But so that's like on my to-do list to write in a couple
To
years
get back.
maybe.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. That's
Uh,
fantastic. Oh, and to have that from such an early age and such clear ideas and just to be immersed in that and the realization that hey, I can do this. Oh,
mhm.
I think that's fantastic. And is she still writing as well?
Yes, she's still writing. She hasn't finished anything. She has a problem with getting like no motivation. She'll lose motivation for the
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
writer's block, and then just like get tired of it, so she'll go on to another idea. But she still has all these ideas, and I'm hoping she came with me to Kansas City, so like sitting there and seeing all the other authors, she's like, now I kind of really want to finish my book. So
Yeah,
we'll see
that's
if she does. But
yeah. I love that you're in Kansas City. My dad's from Kansas, and
oh,
although
really?
I grew up in the UK, yeah, but my dad's
Okay.
from Kansas, so I love that. That's great. That's really cool. Um, so how many books have you got planned for this series that's coming? Obviously, got the first one out.
So hey, no bark.
Is that
Sorry,
your
my dog's
doggy?
barking.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
But this for the Omega's Rebellion, there will be 4 books in the main series, and then at least one prequel.
Cool.
Um, I
Excellent.
haven't planned if there's gonna be any other like prequels or anything, but
Yeah, yeah. And have you got like your release schedule all planned out, or is it just when I can get it, I'll do it, kind of thing.
Um,
Because I know
for the
different
most
authors
part,
have different approaches, don't they, to releasing stuff. So
yeah.
yeah,
I kind of do. I know book two comes out in June. Don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but comes out in June. It's being edited. And then book three tentatively will be out in November, but I might have to push that back if I don't have time to get it out. But
yeah,
so far I don't have anything for book four or the prequel yet.
yeah.
They're still in like the outlining planning stage. So
Thinking stage, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So, do you find that having published this a couple of years ago and then, going through the editing and stuff like that, has it changed your approach to the way that you write going through that experience?
It definitely has. I know that I plan a lot more. When I wrote this originally, I just kind of went with it, and I didn't really like plot much out and everything.
Yeah,
So after I was getting it edited, the editor did find some things that like weren't exactly plot holes, but they would be, um, they were things that I didn't catch that would make it difficult for the rest of the books. So
sure.
then that was really nice. That like, so I was like, okay, I really have to like plot this all down and at least have like something written so I remember to come back to that.
Yeah. So, when you plot now, what does that look like? How detailed do you go? How much do you know before you actually start writing?
Um, so I use I don't know if you know the app or the program Plotter
Oh yeah,
at all.
I oh yeah, another author introduced it to me recently. I've been playing around with it, and unfortunately, I'm in editing hell, and I've got about 3 books to edit, so
Oh
I'm
no.
not I've not been able to use it properly. But I'm very
Yep.
excited when
Yep.
I finally get to properly plot it out. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a
Um,
fantastic tool, isn't it? Yeah,
yes, it is. I don't use all of the features on it, but I definitely use the main timeline one
yeah,
from like the main plot, and I separate that by the character point of views, so I can visually see like how it flows all together.
yeah,
And so I just write a little bit like a sentence or a couple sentences of what's going to happen in each chapter.
yeah.
And then so I know, so I'm like, wait, if they're so I can catch if like I have them in two different places and then like if there's
Absolutely.
a, if there's a plot hole building, but
It's really good
uh
for that, isn't it? And I think
yeah.
also if like a character hasn't been mentioned for a while and you think, oh,
Hmm.
where'd they go? How do I,
Yeah.
and just plotting their arcs, and seeing them all together and how they balance. It's so clever just to be able to visually see that rather than have
Yeah.
the post-its on your wall or whatever other authors might do, which I could never get my head around.
Yeah.
It's just that's too chaotic for me. I like neatness. So
Well, see,
yeah,
that
it's
used to be what I did, so
did you? But also, I mean, I do use a lot of post-its when I'm drafting. I keep a post-it
Mhm.
pad by my bed, and I'll wake up with them all over my floor, which is one thing. But also, they never stick properly. So when you are trying to stick them on things and they're curling and falling, and that
Mhm.
really annoys me. I'm like, no. So I much prefer to do things on a spreadsheet or a massive piece of paper or something like that. But it's the same kind of thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But um, that moving scenes around, I've never been able to see my books in scenes like a building blocks. I guess I can't move them around like that because it's a cohesive linear thing for me. But I know that's how all our brains work so differently, in the way that we approach it. So yeah, no, plotter definitely, I think, is the way forward. So people watching, if you haven't checked it out, do. It's amazing. It will turn you into a plotter, won't it?
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. So once you've written your book, then how do you go about editing? What's your process for that?
Um, so once I'm done writing it the first time, I kind of step away for a little bit just so I can like refresh. Um, Sometimes I accidentally like dive into another book that I need to finish, but so I'll leave it for a couple days and then I'll come back and then I'll just read through it once just to make sure that it flows like the timeline. I didn't mess up anything. Um, and that one I usually just quickly read through just to make sure that I didn't miss anything and that it's because I know my writing style has changed a lot. So a lot of times when I go back to my older books, I'll realize I didn't have enough description or like I feel like it moves too quickly. kind of thing. So I'll add in all that, and usually I'll actually like print off the whole book
Do you
because I'm
think?
more of like yeah, because I'm more of like a visually like I need to write it down in pen, but
Yeah.
then after I'm done, I'm like, okay, now I have to add these all into the computer now.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do that, and I would love to do that, but I just think about wasting the ink and the paper. I
Yeah,
can't do it.
yeah,
And then as soon as I start making notes, I'm like, why am I writing this out when I could just do it straight
yeah.
on the laptop?
Hmm.
So I just yeah, I probably should print it out. It would be better for me because I think you take that one step removed, don't you? And you can see things from it from at arm's length, a little bit of distance and objectivity. But I never end up doing. But I do. I think it's a great method to be able to do that. And I think an alternative is sometimes if you change the font in how you've written it, things
Hmm.
pop out at you. That way as well. So yeah, no, that's a great way to go about that. Yeah, good. And then how are you with like doing like big structural, big picture edits? Are you able to spot those and have the confidence just to make those changes, or do you need a little bit of help with that? Because that's my weak point. I'm like, I need someone to tell me what to do. I'm like, I can't do this on my own. Hold my hand. So
Yeah. I think I'm fairly okay with that. A lot of my books, not really this one since it's more like an urban fantasy since it's like in modern day. But I do a lot of like the epic fantasies and like the whole world building.
yeah,
So I'm kind of used to trying to like remember like the whole plot, like where they are and all that stuff. But there is little things that I'll have to like remember and like when I'm even editing, I'll like make a note but like was this mentioned before? Like
yeah,
so I'll write it down. I'm like I'll go back and look at that later and make sure that
yeah,
that sounds right and stuff like that. But I
yeah,
can't catch everything either, so I still have people
yeah.
read it and let me know.
Well, I think that's invaluable, isn't it? To have other people read it, whether it's critique partners or beta readers or art readers, whoever's reading it, just to point out, and they all have something different to say. So, or they're all catch different things. So it's really useful to have a team of people behind you that can help do that. But
Yeah.
this isn't your only book, is it? Because you write under a pen name and you have other things
Yeah.
out there. So tell us a little bit about what other books are out in the universe of Sierra Christenson.
So I do have The Stolen, which is a YA Greek mythology about the daughter of Hecate. And I have that out. I wrote that with a friend. His name's Nate Pace. We went to high school together, and that was when we first wrote the book. And then it took about like 5 years to finish it because we were both like in college, and
Yeah,
then life happened. And then I came back to it and I was like, okay, we're gonna finish this now.
yeah,
So we finished that, and that was another one that we originally just published and then republished last May, I think, in
yeah.
2021. We
Cool.
did the whole like editor and the new cover, and um, so that one's out, and that's kind of ended my whole YA that I usually
Oh,
write.
has it?
Now,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
so now I'm more
YA
into
is my area, but I love a
okay.
Greek. I love a Greek retelling as well. I do. I love the Greek and Roman myths, all the myths, all the things.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
that always captures my attention. I'm trying to figure out a way into doing a modern day Pandora retelling, and I
Oh,
will. But it's like
that would
something
be
that's
nice.
going in the back of my head for the past
Yep.
5 years, maybe. I don't know. But while I work on other things, so yeah.
Yep.
So carry on, and after that,
So I have that one, and that one's a standalone. We agreed on that because he's not really up for like sequels. He made the point that he said sequels are never as good as the first book, which I totally get where he's coming from. It just I feel like
I think in movies
yeah.
he's generally correct. I don't necessarily think in books, because I think in books you can explore a character arc in so much
Hmm.
more depth. Whereas that doesn't translate to movies because you don't have that internal monologue in a movie. You can't portray that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so let me, Adam. We'll have a little discussion.
Sounds good. Yeah, because I thought like it would have been great to like because even with the Greek myths, like we could have like had a whole series about the different characters, like how uh like Rick Riordan, is that how you say his
Yeah,
name? Like the Percy
yeah,
Jackson
something
like
like
series.
that.
Like he has
Yeah.
yeah. He's like series after series of all in the same world and like with different gods and different demigods that I thought
Yeah.
like because
Well,
that's
you could do that.
originally
You wouldn't even have to have it as a series, but you could just pick a different god and it would
yeah
be the same voice, but each one would be a standalone. I mean,
yeah
that's a fantastic idea.
yeah.
Get
I
on
don't think
that.
it's yeah. I actually do have a series that I'm working on right now. It's kind of new, and so like I'm still fleshing out all the ideas, but it is it joins like all the pantheons kind of together and like a bunch of mythological creatures from like all over the world. And it's gonna be a darker kind of story, but the main premise, the first one is gonna be a duology between two main characters, and they are like assassins, like trained assassins from Hecate. Like she takes in these women that were abandoned and like abused and everything through like throughout time at different points in time, like centuries ago, and trained them in this like other dimensional like academy to like do her bidding pretty much. And so
That's
like she'll
amazing.
give
But that's amazing. I mean, I'm just thinking about all these historical female figures over time
yeah.
that you could include in this. This is a stunning idea. Wow, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Gosh,
and
incredible.
there's gonna be like so many different like creatures and um just like my own twist on like a lot of like the myths and like folklore of creatures.
Yeah.
And so like the first two books follow these two women that are assassins, and then it'll spin off, and like I have like a whole series that I had been writing before about like Irish mythology that I'll probably like tie in and like have that connected. And then I was gonna do a Medusa kind of retelling, but like put a twist on that.
Mm,
So it's kind of like giving a voice to a lot of like the goddesses and the female characters in myth that don't get a lot of representation.
yeah.
So
Absolutely. And you know, it reminds me of we were just watching, well, rewatching all the Marvel films with my
mhm,
children. So we've gone through all the films in chronological order, and we just finished watching Endgame, which is the last one. And there is a moment in that scene when it's all the women, all the females. So you've got Captain Marvel, and you've got all the female characters, Wasp, and all
mhm,
Valkyrie, and they're all there. And it was such a strong moment for women superheroes, because traditionally it was
mhm.
Batman and Superman and Spider-Man, and
Yeah.
oh, yes, we did have Wonder Woman, and it was such a strong moment, I think, for this day and age to have those 10 females just on their own holding
Hmm.
up Marvel and in it. Oh yeah, so I think that's an incredible idea. Wow, I want to reel it now. I'm like, come on,
I
produce
know, I
it, give
wasn't
it to
expecting
me.
I posted a couple TikToks about it, and like one started like getting a lot of attention like the last like 2 days, and I was like, oh, I have to really write this right now and then.
Yeah, gonna have to. Well, it's good because it holds you accountable, doesn't it? Though, so it
Yes.
kind of, people are expecting this from you now, so you're like, gonna have to do that now.
Yep, move it up on my list to write.
Yeah, I do that because I have about 4 or 5 things that I'm just making notes about while I work on editing for other things, and so I'll talk about them more, and then I'll see what gets attention. I think, oh wait, so that one will move up one day, and that one will move up the next day, and then my agent
Yeah.
will be like, no, you can't write that. I'm like, why can't I write that? So yeah, yeah, it's funny how that moves around. It's funny. Yeah, really good.
Mhm.
So, have you made lots of friends on Book Talk since you've been here? How do you feel about the whole Book Talk community?
I think I have. There's a lot of people that I talk to, that I message back and forth with. Some of them that I like join other like groups like on Facebook and stuff with, and
Yeah,
um, that I feel like I can talk to about like advice, or that I can give them advice, even though I feel like I'm not experienced enough to give
yeah,
advice. But sometimes when they ask me for advice, I was like, oh, okay. I mean,
yeah,
I would just do this. But so the overall, I really like the book talk community and like how welcoming they are.
yeah.
Um, I know that there's a lot of drama lately. I try to stay out of that, but
People talk about this drama, and I see there are a couple of friends I have who are posting about the drama all the time, and I'm liking, I never see the drama. I never see. I only see people talking about the drama. Never see
Yeah.
the actual drama, and I'm like, I don't know what corner of book talk I'm in, but it's a nice, safe, squishy place because I don't see the
Yeah.
drama. So
I know. I usually have to go find like what they're talking about usually because
yeah,
I just see them posting about it and I'm just like I don't see the main instance of when it starts.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, they're obviously in the bad place. We're in the good place. You know? Where would you say? Yeah, fork. Would you like a fork with that? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh no, I think it's great. I think and I what I love about book talk is just you feel like you get to know people so much quicker because you're seeing them and you can see the way that they deliver their post. And I just think, rather than Twitter or Instagram where you're not seeing the person behind all that, it
Hmm.
just gives you those more immediate connections, which I think is so nice. So yeah, I like that a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what do you find the hardest part of the writing process?
Um,
Mhm.
Editing
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
I would find that would probably be it. And then just making sure that like I can differentiate between the two voices or like how many ever point of views I have and making sure that like my characters are diverse enough that like if I switch between the point of views, like you can tell that it's another person
yeah.
and that this doesn't sound like just one voice all the way across the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah. It's hard when I mean, I write first person, third person, present tense, past tense. I write across the whole, and
Hmm.
I definitely always feel that when I write multi point of view, I kind of think, I think the thing I worry about the most is making sure character is strong enough. And I don't know why I do. It's just the thing that I spend so much time making sure I get right.
Hmm.
And especially when you've got multi point of view, because you want to make sure they're distinct, and the advice is always to, you should be able to pick them apart when they're speaking because of the way that they speak and how they say things. And that always just fills me with dread when people say that, because I think, I don't know if I'm doing that, am I doing that? But
Hmm.
yeah, I know what you mean. It's a tricky part of the process. Whereas I have friends who love editing but hate first drafting. First drafting is my happy place because it's nothing has to be perfect. You just write. So
I'm a perfectionist a little bit though, so I'm constantly trying to like go back and make sure it's perfect even during the first draft.
see. So how
Yeah.
long does it take you to write a first draft then?
It depends on the book and like how
Yeah.
motivated I am and how much time I have. Um, I think when I first wrote this one, The Omega's Rebellion, it took two months, not even,
Yeah,
to
good.
write.
Really fast. Yeah.
But and then when I wrote book two originally, because book two is another one now I'm just in the editing process of because um that was another one I had published, but now I'm getting professionally edited. That took me like a year and a half to
Yeah.
finally get done.
Yeah.
And it was more so just a lot of stuff going on in life that it was hard to
Sure.
sit down and
Sure.
write. But
Yeah. Yeah, that happens. Stupid pandemics, all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, it ebbs and flows. But I think, if you're able to lay out a first draft in 2 months, I think, that's great. That's exceptional. So perfect.
Hmm.
So how do you balance your writing life and your personal life and all that kind of stuff? Do you find that hard, or do you have a routine, or how does that work for you?
It's very hard. Especially with like a full-time job. Because then I'll come home and I'll try to write. A lot of times I won't get time for like to spend time with my boyfriend or anything because I'll just be using every available time I have to write or work on like the drafting or anything. But I try to make time. It's mainly on the weekends that we have more time because then
Yeah,
I like have the whole day. I'll write during the day and then at night we have time. But
run together. Yeah, that sounds like a nice balance. Yeah,
mhm.
I mean, when my husband and I, when we were younger and before we had children, and he's a morning person and I am not, and I'm a night owl. So he had a job that he was working. He wouldn't get home till 9 o'clock.
Oh, I think I lost your voice. I can't hear you.
out.
I can't
Yeah,
hear you. Oh, there you go.
that's
Sorry, it
good.
cut out for a second.
That's it. Oh, there we go. Bummer. No, we were doing so well.
I know.
It's amazing the connectivity you get, around the world where you can just have a conversation with somebody and it's practically seamless, apart from little
Almost.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So what is your full-time job?
Right now I'm like pretty much like a receptionist at a medical clinic. It's not necessarily a medical clinic. It has medical but also has dental and like social services and like behavioral health services. And so I just sit there, I check people in, I like make appointments and I help try to run their social media, but so it's a very busy day, so it's hard to keep up on their social media. But
yeah. I bet you might meet a lot of interesting people actually, which is great for characterization and little things that you can just add into your book. And I like that. That's fantastic. So what is it? What do you do to market your books? Do you have a marketing strategy or plan, or are you kind of winging it, or have you done anything concrete to help get the knowledge of your books out there? What kind of stuff?
Winging it mainly.
Yeah.
So I post a lot of TikTok videos about it. I have like a website, so I try to like talk about that a lot. I use like Instagram and Facebook, and I have a Facebook page for all my writing. When I first started like publishing books, I would do like the Facebook promotions or whatever. So I would boost my posts. Barking. Yeah. So I would boost the posts so that they could like get to more people, and I got a lot of followers from there, but it didn't really translate to sales or anything, but at least I have a lot of people that know about the books anyways. But
yeah, it's almost like you're pressing a button and making it bark.
Yeah, I'm doing the little.
Yeah, what kind of dog is it? What kind?
Well, I have 3 dogs. Two of them are mini Aussies.
Okay.
And then I have a Chihuahua. So. Oh, can you not hear me?
Fantastic.
Oh, no. Oh, there.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So what would you think? Where would you like your book career to go? What's your dream?
Pretty much right now is just being like selling enough books a month to be able to write full time, pretty much.
Yeah,
I don't need to be like, yeah. I don't need too much. I just need just enough to at least pay the bills and I'll be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I totally get that. And do you think anybody can be a writer?
I think that like anyone with the motivation and the drive to do it could, because there's a lot of resources out there that like could help you and like help you get better. Because I definitely wasn't the best when I started, and I've just had so much help as I go. You just have to be open to learning, because I know a lot of people like even after you publish, there's always something to learn. You're never perfect, so always learning and just to keep becoming a better writer. But I think that everyone has it like in them to learn and to do it. They just have to have the drive, because it is a lot of work. But
perseverance. I think you're right. I think that and I think people come at it from a different starting point. And I have a really good friend, who's a very technical writer. So he doesn't necessarily feel things instinctually, whereas I would call myself an instinctual writer. Like I can naturally, even though I'm a plotter, I kind of know where the main beats need to be, just instinctually. He has to read every craft book under the sun and technically plan things out, and I think it's like his safety net almost. He needs that knowledge and able to think, I can do that, and that's how I'm going to do that. So we all approach it differently, and like you say, we're all learning. And I think in some ways, it's one of the beauties of the industry is that, you know, you are always learning, you're always getting better, and the community and sharing. And I love how we all interact and just share our knowledge, whether it's the actual craft of writing or it's marketing or it's whatever it is, you know. It can be such a great community to share that expertise, and yay book talk. Absolutely. Right, we've got to the really fun part of the interview. Some people think it's the evil part, but it's the fun question time, which has nothing to do with writing, or it might do, depending on the way you look at it. But here we go. So as a writer, what would you choose as your spirit animal?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I'm thinking it might be a dog, but it might not be.
Actually, close. I've always loved wolves. So, I don't know, they've always been like the animal that I geared more towards, like, because they're very family oriented and very protective. So even as a writer and not as a writer, I've always geared towards the wolf mainly.
Yeah. My eldest, he's 14. He's always been obsessed with wolves, and he's got wolf paintings in his bedroom and statues, and I remember I don't know if you are aware of David Attenborough, who does all the Blue Planet, the nature programs and things like that. He's British, but he's all over the place. But he did a great segment on I think it was, you know, anything northern in the ice, and he followed the wolves. And I thought what was fascinating is that the alpha always goes at the back of the pack to make sure that the weakest aren't left behind, and they get the slowest to lead, so that they're all in that pace. I just thought there's such beauty in that, and as you say, family, the way that they look after each other. I thought that was just exquisite. You don't see a lot of creatures and animals in the world treating their packs like that, you know. So totally agree with you on that one. It's a good choice. Good. All right, if you could only eat one meal and drink one drink, doesn't have to be healthy, this can be your guilty pleasure, it's fine, what would you go for the rest of your life? What would you go for?
Oh gosh. Food wise, it would probably be bulgogi, which is a Korean dish that I found a couple years ago. That's really good.
Wow.
It's like I found that when I was living in LA. I just tried a bunch of different restaurants, and I really like Korean barbecue, and bulgogi was one of the main ones that I really liked.
So is it a meat dish then? What's in it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just like you can do like beef or pork.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do it with anything else, but it's kind of like it sits in like a marinade, and it's kind of like it's in like garlic sauce, soy sauce. I don't know everything else that's in it, but it's really good. And then you just grill it and eat it with rice, and it's really good.
That does sound nice. I'll have to look that one up. Yum yum. Good. Oh, and drink. Yes. What about your drink? What's with it?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. What would I don't even know if I have. If I had to choose, it would probably be like milk tea with boba. That's really good.
I don't even know what that is either.
Wow,
I'm learning new things tonight. That's incredible. Tell me what this is then.
So you can have. It doesn't have to necessarily be milk tea, but it's just a drink that they put like these little tapioca pearls in.
Right.
And they're little they're little chewy little balls that you put in the drink.
Like bubble tea. Bubble tea?
Yes, bubble tea. Okay. Bubble tea is another name for it. Yes.
I'm with you now. So I think it's called bubble tea here, but I haven't tried it yet.
Okay. I really love it.
I think it's about time tea got to be big, because coffee, I don't drink coffee. And you got your macchiatos and your frappuccinos and your skinny this and your that and your caramel whatever. So it's about time tea had its moment with its bubbles and pearls, and you know, quite frankly, yay, bring on the tea. Good. Okay, what favorite cookie or biscuit? Snack.
Um, favorite cookie. Um, oh gosh, I don't know. I love all cookies. Probably just be like a sugar cookie, probably.
Oh,
Is one of my favorites.
and do you like to decorate them as well? Like Halloween cookies or.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
those are like the
Yeah.
best ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
We only make sugar cookies at Halloween here, and that's when we
Oh
decorate.
really?
I don't know why we don't do it other times of the year. You don't really get sugar cookies here. I guess
Oh.
our equivalent would be shortbread, but it's a bit
Oh,
denser.
okay.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sugar cookies aren't as big, but when we make them at home, then we decorate them and stuff like that. So, and they're always just a mess of icing and sprinkles, with half the fun really. So, yeah. All right, so we know that you've got 3 dogs, but what are their
hmm
names?
So the two mini Aussies are Kairos and Cosmo,
Oh,
and then the Chihuahua is Yuri, and then I also have a cat named Kane.
Kane. Love these names. I love that you have a Chihuahua. I just think Chihuahuas are hysterical. So much personality packed into not much. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's not like I've heard a lot of people that meet him say that he's not like the stereotypical
Right.
Chihuahua either. He just wants all the attention. He
Nice.
um he does have a lot of personality though. If anyone comes onto his like turf, like he's
Yeah.
like thinks he's a giant
Mhm.
dog. But
Yeah. There was this one Facebook post I came across must have been about a year ago. I think it was British, about this Chihuahua that was homeless. It needed adopting, and this family had taken it in, and they had other dogs, and it was just an utter nightmare. It would just destroy everything. So this post was very comedic, and it made you laugh, and it
mhm.
made it out to be like the Chihuahua from hell. You could imagine it would be like
Yeah.
Chucky the movie, but with a Chihuahua. So I don't know whatever happened to this Chihuahua, but I was tempted just to meet it just to see because it was
Yeah.
so well written. This account, it was hysterical. Okay, I mentioned Marvel earlier, so I want to know: are you a Marvel person or a DC person or neither?
I am a Marvel person.
Hmm. You have a favorite?
Um, Not particularly, but I would have to say, from the movie franchise, definitely like probably like Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch are probably a couple of my favorites.
Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, I think Doctor Strange. I didn't know much about Doctor Strange until because I didn't read any of the comics. My husband knows all of them.
Oh yeah, I didn't read the comics either,
No,
so
but I really like his character, and I think he's well cast. I think Benedict Cumberbatch does a really good job of being Doctor
hmm
Strange. I think it was a really good casting, actually. Yeah, it is. I do. I love the whole Marvel world. I think it's so much
hmm
fun. Okay, here's probably the hardest question. What 3 books would you take to a desert island or give to an alien? They don't have to be the same thing. Mm, tricky.
Oh, bring to a desert
Mm.
island.
So yeah, desert island comfort books, or not, what you might want to read. Aliens, you might want to be teaching them about humans and don't kill us.
Okay. Well, the books I probably wouldn't help them if I give them to the aliens, but um, it's really hard because like a lot of my favorite books are like series. So
Yeah,
trying
so
to pick
take the
one.
series. That's fine. You're like one series is like the equivalent to one book. I will allow that. I'm a bookish
Okay.
person. That's fine.
Okay. Well, my favorite author in like the series that she has is J.R. Ward
Okay.
and her Black Dagger Brotherhood series.
Okay. Oh, I don't know this. Okay, this sounds
Yeah.
interesting. What's it about?
It's about vampires and it's like a modern day vampire. Like they're a brotherhood of like warriors.
Okay.
So like they are like a different breed than the normal vampires. Like they're stronger, they're built stronger, And so each book is about like their romance and finding their mate, pretty much. And it's very spicy. So I don't know if you read spice, but
No,
it's very spicy.
I'm happy to have a bit of spice. And
Yeah.
I love vampires. I do love vampire books. So this sounds
I
perfect.
I really just yep. And she has a couple spin-offs too with that one. She has another series about angels, and I think each one is about a different virtue, I believe. I haven't read those ones yet, but it's in the same world. But there's very little crossover. There's like maybe one or two characters that cross over, but you don't need to read one series to understand the other, I think.
Yeah.
And then she just did another spin-off for werewolves. She just entered werewolves into the series. So they get their own series and then they'll probably cross over eventually. But
Yeah, I mean, you
the
can't not.
main
I mean,
series.
vampires and werewolves, they're so synonymous almost, aren't they? Really, that
Mhm.
it's hard to have one without the other. Or if you're going to do one series, yeah, it's natural, I think.
Yep.
That's quite exciting. Yeah, good.
Yep. So yeah, so I think the first series with just the vampires, I think that's like 19 books right now though. I
Wow.
think just that
She,
one, she is a lot.
is she a self-published author?
No, she is through a publishing company. I can't remember which one,
It's
but
unusual to get a series that long. I don't think I've ever read a series that long, actually.
um I found her originally when I was in high school and she had the first 6 books out. I did
Okay.
not expect it to go this long,
Yeah.
but I'm super happy with it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, as long as they can maintain, I guess, when I watch series on TVs that go on and on and on, and they put, or like detective books that they can be quite longer in series, their characters go through so much, and you kind of think,
mhm.
is this really realistic? Would they not have just thrown themselves off a cliff by now? Because quite frankly, their first wife was killed, their second wife was kidnapped, there's been so much
Yeah.
tragedy in these people's lives. How can you keep it going that's realistic, I guess.
Yes.
But as a reader, you need to expect that level of conflict with each book, and they have a different, each book will have a different obstacle to overcome, blah 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 blah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it just depends on how it's handled, but
Mhm.
believability is obviously important. So wow,
Yeah.
that's 19 books. That's incredible. Okay. Okay, so
Yeah, so that
you're taking 19 books as one.
okay.
I like your thinking. I'm now going to look for the longest series as I can find to take to my desert island. I like this.
Yeah. My whole suitcase is books, you know.
Yeah.
No, nothing else. Um Another series that I really like, it's a series by Michael Scott. He wrote The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series.
Okay.
And so I really like that one. That has a lot of mythology in it. That one, it's a 6 book series, I believe, 5 or 6. I haven't read it since like high school, but it's more YA, and it deals with Nicholas Flamel, the man that made the Philosopher's Stone or found it or whatever, and then like how the Philosopher's Stone gave him immortality, and then like pretty much how there's these 2 twins that are supposed to be like from a prophecy that's supposed to save or destroy the world, and he adds in pretty much every pantheon of myths and like gods in there, and
Right.
like twists them into like a whole like series, and it's really good.
That
You meet
sounds
like
incredible.
everyone.
That sounds
Yeah.
incredible. One of my favorite parts of doing these shows with other authors and asking these questions is learning about books that I haven't come across. And
Hmm.
it really is fascinating. There's so many books in the world, and
Yes, sir.
that sounds right up my street. I love the idea of that. Wow. Yeah, incredible, incredible. Love it. And I love the idea of 2 twins. I mean, does he make one of them good and one of them evil, or?
Yes, and but there is a twist in there because it's not what you're expecting. Because you would expect, like, as you start reading, that one's gonna be the good one, one's gonna be the bad
Yeah,
one, and like by the end of the whole series, you're like, okay, didn't see that coming.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I really liked that one.
Excellent.
And trying to think of the third one I would choose.
Yeah.
Um, I would have to say it would probably be The series Vampire Academy
Mm,
by Rochelle Mead. That one, I really loved that one.
yeah,
Um, I've read that series a couple times.
yeah. I
Um,
haven't read it. I did start watching. Is it Netflix that it's on? Something. Have you seen the TV adaptation?
oh, have they already come out with that already?
Yeah, yeah,
I gotta find that.
yeah.
I watched the movie that they adapted it to. I wasn't a big fan of that one.
I
Um,
don't know that. Or maybe it was a movie. Was it a movie?
I know that they're
I can't
making a
remember what I
TV
watched,
series.
but it felt almost too teeny to me when I watched it, and I went, mm. Um, I thought it was a
Maybe.
series, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Who knows?
I just know that it had it was a little too like cheesy for me, the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
That's
very
that's my
cheesy.
feeling. So maybe it was the movie then that maybe we watched the
Yeah.
same. Yeah,
I mean, it had good actors and everything in it from like that I've seen in other things. I just really hope that the TV show is more in tune with how the book felt, I guess.
yeah.
Like the but
Well, I love that they are bringing out a TV show. You might not know this movie. It might be before your time, but The Lost Boys. Do you know The Lost Boys?
oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's a TV show landing imminently, um, and
Oh.
I can't wait to see that. I cannot wait. That was one of my favorite movies growing up. Yeah,
I watched that too. I haven't watched that forever though. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That
I
was a good
tried to
one
get
too.
my eldest to watch it, and he doesn't love horror or things like that. So I thought, well, it's 80s. He'll, it's going to be like a cartoon for him. But he's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so boring because just the way things are produced has changed.
Yeah.
I'm like, you cannot diss one of my favorite movies of all time. This is not cool. It's got
Yeah.
vampires. How are vampires boring? This is
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Right. So, what are you going to give to an alien?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, that isn't it?
Yeah. Give to an alien. I don't even know. I can't even think of that.
Yeah. When I was asked this question, I said the Bible and then immediately regretted it, thinking, no, that's probably the worst thing you could give to an alien. Um, Other people have said their own books, which I thought, yeah. And then other people have said books about aliens. So, the worst case scenario to be like, please don't do this to us. We're nice people. So it just depends on what
Um,
you think. It depends on what your concept of alien is, isn't it? Whether they're in
yeah.
peace, whether they're hostile. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Tricky.
I probably wouldn't give them any of the alien books that I've read because they're more of the romance ones. So
Yeah.
definitely not those ones.
Does that include
Um,
the Ice Planet Barbarian? What is that book? And that is aliens, isn't it? Is it aliens?
yeah,
That book? Yeah.
yeah. I've read the first one. I started the second one. I just haven't had time to read any more of it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's Ice Planet Barbarians,
Yeah.
and they're stolen from Earth to go, I don't know, for breeding or something, I think.
Yeah.
And they get stranded on this planet with these other
Right.
aliens
Right.
that like mate with them and try to protect them. So,
Kinky.
um,
Yeah.
um,
I haven't checked it out yet. I am intrigued though. Do you find, having been on BookTok, are there books that BookTok have made you buy?
um, there's a lot on my TBR from Book Talk. I haven't bought books recently just because of financial like
Mm.
not
Yeah.
I like
I think
buying the
we all
hard.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely say the Ice Planet Barbarians was one of them.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it a couple years ago and wanting to read it, and I never got around to it. And then it like got big on Book Talk,
Yeah.
and so I was like, oh well, I guess I'll just buy the book. So I got the paperback of book one. So I keep on looking at my bookshelf to see what books I have.
Yeah. See what's there. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I know Den of Vipers. I got Den of Vipers after um seeing a couple people talking about it on Book Talk. Um, I also got I think it was Ensnared which is by a book talker, an indie author, husband and wife. I don't know if you've seen them.
I haven't seen them. No, I'll have to think about
Um, I'm bad with names. I think they write as Tiffany Roberts,
it. Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
And so they're really into the alien romance. The ensnared one is I think a trilogy, and it's about like I think it's like an alien spider, I think. Which I was very like iffy on because I hate spiders, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't read it yet though. But so far like the first couple chapters are very I
Yeah.
like their writing style, and it sounds really good so far.
I think
But
often if you like the voice and the writing style, it almost doesn't matter what it's about. As
yeah,
long as that voice carries you along. Yeah.
yeah. Um
Yeah.
I have not read, and I know a lot of people, if they found out this, they'd probably freak out. I have not read anything by Sarah J. Maas yet.
I haven't either, and I won't because it's just not me. So yeah, that's fine. I think
Yeah.
what I did buy, which I almost regret, was the Shadow and Bone trilogy because
Okay.
I was thinking I'm going to read the first one before the Netflix series came out, and I didn't. So I watched the Netflix series, and I love the Netflix series. But what I do know about myself is I write low fantasy and high fantasy, but I only read low fantasy. But I will watch high fantasy. So, for instance, Game of
Mhm.
Thrones, I love the Game of Thrones. I won't read Game of Thrones, but I love to
Yeah.
watch Game of Thrones. Lord of the Rings, love to watch Lord of the Rings, don't want to read Lord of the Rings. But, stuff that's urban fantasy, totally all over that. So, yeah, so that was, I knew when I bought them that I wasn't going to read them, and I don't, and that was my big influence of, I need to get into this, what everyone's talking about. But now I'm much
Yeah.
more careful about when I see recommendations. I do go and read the blurbs and look at it to see, am I actually going to like this book? So I only then buy the ones or add to my wish list the ones that I know I think are me, rather than just what everyone's
Yeah.
talking about. So yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah,
I bought the first book in the Shadow of Bone series and also Six of Crows, but I have not read them yet because I haven't had time. But I also haven't watched the show because I'm really big on reading the book first.
yeah,
So the show's just sitting there like tempting me to watch it, and I'm
yeah.
like, if I had time to
Horrible
watch it,
that,
I
isn't
should
it?
read it. Yeah.
Yeah. I did that
So
with
I'm
The
waiting for that.
Handmaid's Tale when that show
Oh,
came out. I was determined to read the book first, and it's a short, it's a thin, it's not a big book, so
mhm.
it was recorded on my Sky, and for like 6 months while I was reading the book, I was like, I'm gonna read this first, and I'm so glad I did. It was really worth it, actually.
Okay.
I think you get so much more out of a viewing experience when you've read the book first. And I will never do it the other way around. If I watch
Yeah.
something, I will never go and read the book, with the exception of I might go and read Game of Thrones just because I know that there are subplots that didn't make it into the series that I'm
Mhm.
interested in. Um, so I might do that. But yeah, it just makes the experience so much richer, I think, once you've read the book first. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That ended up like that for Percy Jackson because then they came out before I ever knew that they were books. So I watched the first movie and I was like, oh, I really like this. So like my mom bought me, it was like what, I was like ninth, 10th grade. My mom
yeah,
bought me the entire series
yeah,
in like a box set. So I was like,
yeah,
well, I watched the first movie. I don't really need to read the first book. But then I started reading book two, and there was all these characters that we hadn't met in the
yeah,
movie because they didn't put them in the movie. I was like, now I'm super confused. But I
yeah.
didn't even go back and read book one. I kept on just going and just
Yeah.
try to
And
figure it out
I
on my
love
own.
the Percy Jackson series. I do. I think they're so readable.
Hmm.
And but what's really interesting is that in the books he's 12. He starts off as 12, whereas in the movies he's older than that. So
Yeah.
they definitely changed that. But if you like Percy Jackson, definitely read. So there's an Irish author. He's written a series called Skullduggery Pleasant. It is
Okay.
phenomenal, and he's got like 12 books in the series.
Hmm.
Skullduggery Pleasant, and it's, I would say, in the same vein. Probably a bit darker, and it is excellent, absolutely excellent. So definitely
I
check that.
think I've heard that title before.
Yeah, it's
I know
by,
it sounds familiar.
I want to get his name right, Derek Landry. Derek Landry,
I'm gonna write
Skullduggery.
that down.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's amazing, and I would love to see adaptations of that. I mean, it would probably be
Yeah.
better as a series now because he's got so many books.
Yeah.
But they are really excellent. Yeah. Okay, your final question, and then you are free to go about your day. Have you got any talents that would help you survive the Hunger Games?
No, probably not.
I love your honesty. That's brilliant.
No, I know that I would probably die right away in the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I think, most people I've spoken to have said that, and tried to, scrimmage up a talent from somewhere, but yeah, no, I think we'd all just die, us authors behind our keyboards, not being very good.
I mean, I probably would be like, well, I think, I can't remember. It's been so long since I read the book or watched the movies. I'd probably be like, I think there was like a character that like hid most of the time. And so like got up to like one of like the first like last remaining because they were hiding the whole time. That would probably be me. I'd probably just hide. Yeah, hopefully that I would win. But yeah, no, I probably would die.
No, it's sad when you think about it in those terms, and you think I want to be a Katniss with a bow and arrow or something, but it does make me think, should I go and start a new hobby, something obscure like knife throwing, or just sword wielding, just something so that I can say, yes, I would survive the Hunger Games, something like that. Yeah. Oh,
I'll just write about it, so
Well, yeah. I need a new hobby. I think. I mean, what can I do? I can't really. No, I keep trying to convince myself that I've got a talent, but I really don't. I could just be nice to people and form alliances, and then hopefully have the guts to stab them in the dark at the last moment. That would be me. Yeah, not. Yeah. Anyway. But okay, so that was your last question. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been a pleasure to get to know you, and learn more about you and your books and your writing journey. And I hope that you'll come back on the show when you've got another book out and you can tell everyone all about it. But I want to say good luck with this series. It sounds amazing, and I can't wait to read more of Omega's Rebellion. It's incredible. So that's it from me. Thank you much, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah. And that was Sierra Christenson. So if you fancy being the star of the Author Chat Show, please go to the link in my bio. It's a link tree, and there you will find a Google form where you can sign up to be the star of the show. I hope to see you soon.